about that intro? Morning. It's like that rooster waking you up, baby.
Oh, Lord. Welcome to Dad Life.
Saturday morning shenanigans with the boys. RPO SportsTalk, we're back. It's been a week, and Jesus Christ, coming off a 4.5-hour NFL Draft Day special. If you haven't taken a look at it, hop in there, hop in at the end, see how our mock lined up with the NFL Draft. Pretty darn close, man. Pretty darn close.
Maybe the first 5 or 6 picks.
That's about it. Then it was an absolute shit show, free for all, as you guys know. A lot of drama around that NFL draft. But man, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited. We're going to talk over the games last night, the semifinal games. Devin Booker, 47 points. He's been averaging over 35 a night going in to that game last night. Man, I'll tell you what, they look really, really smooth. They're finding the bottom of the basket every single time they get down the court. So scary to see if those guys keep it clicking. I would say that they probably come out of the West, man. And knowing that the Bucks really fluffed this one up this year, it wouldn't shock me if they can get one. What do you think?
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. We've seen how consistent the Nuggets have been, and even last night, look at what it took for the Suns to beat them. I mean, when you look at the box score, there were 2 players on the Suns team in double-figure points. It was KD at 39 and Booker at, 45 or something like that. No one else got the 10 points, my guy. It is going to be next to impossible to do that every single night. So for me, I'm just counting this as a one-off, man. Like the Nuggets, it is what it is. It was the first road game of the series. Probably just adjusting a little bit. They're going to come out. When do they play again tomorrow? They'll come out again tomorrow and they'll bounce back and win. Booker needs more help than he's got. I don't think the KD trade necessarily propelled them to the next level because they lost a lot of depth, man. They lost a lot of depth.
I mean, the bench is decimated.
You're really expecting your guys to play, 40-plus minutes a game, and it's a lot. KD's getting old. CP3 is old. He's not reliable. I mean, he gets injured all the time. So for me, I thought like sticking with depth would have been a better play, but I could see why anybody would take the opportunity to get KD. I just think that the Nuggets are too good right now. They're tough to beat, man.
I will say,
because if you look at the box score last night between the Nuggets and the Suns, I was looking at it today. I mean, you got Jokic and Murray, 30-plus points. You got Porter Jr. at 21. You got guys coming off the bench scoring double-digit points. It's just I don't see how the Suns can keep up the production that they had last night out of Booker with 47 and KD 39. I mean, KD shot 16 free throws, my guy. That's not going to happen every night.
Though you doubt them, and it did. If anybody could do it, I will say it will be the Suns. I mean, we're talking about 2 legitimate top 10 all-time scores. And as much as you guys don't want to admit it, Devin Booker is going to get up there eventually. You guys don't realize it. You will soon enough.
But is he really going to shoot 20 for 25 every game?
Here's the thing, man. We're talking about a guy who's dropped 70 in a game before.
I'm not doubting his greatness because I feel bad for Devin Booker. Before I came in here, or before we talked about the headline, my headline was actually Booker deserves better. I changed it to Team No Sleep because it was a little bit more relatable to me, but he deserves better. This guy balls, man. He absolutely balls out. He could lead a team to a title. It's just, for the past 4 or 5 years. Well, I don't know how long CP3's been there now. 3 or 4 years?
Maybe 3.
That's been his guy.
3-4 years.
Your best player is CP3, man, who's up there in a and now that they have KD and they don't have CP3, I don't see it, man. Cameron Payne's your point guard. It's gonna be tough to beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, I will say, on to the point that you made, maybe it doesn't happen every night. I was shocked. I don't know if you saw that first quarter. Devin Booker leaves the quarter 8 for 10, with 18 points. Okay, 8 for 10, 18 points, and you would think Suns are blowing them out, right? If I told you that, no, I want to say they were down 1 going into the second. So. Pretty crazy how consistent this Nuggets team is.
They won by 7.
I mean, yeah, you won by 7. Tough Nuggets team, man. They did a great job building around the old big boy. Who we thought modern basketball bigs aren't going to dominate anymore, right? Here we go. A couple years later, this guy wins 2 MVPs. Embiid gets 1.
Listen to the stat line. Like everyone's talking about Booker. Listen to this stat line from Jokic: 30 points. 17 boards, 17 assists, 1 block. That's insane. I like that. The fact that they lost with him putting that up just like reassures me that what happened last night was just a fluke, man, with the Suns. Like this will probably go 5 games. The Nuggets probably gonna win the next 2, in my opinion. Probably gonna win the next 2.
I don't know if they come back and beat them in Phoenix. I think it's gonna. If anything, it pushes at maybe 6. Probably 6. Game 6, they could drop at home. I could see that. But I mean, 17 assists. Jesus Christ, 17 boards. The crazy thing is, every single possession, if you guys watch. I mean, they run through Jokic. He's at the top of the key there. Put the handoff play. We've seen it a million times. It's either, he's the handoff or he's got someone screening and then he hands off as a double screen. So it's crazy what they're doing down there. Super productive. If you guys play fantasy basketball, you already know Jokic #1 every time. It's crazy. Okay, going into the East game here. Celtics-Sixers. 114-102. Celtics walk away with this one. A hot shooting night. Sixers shot under 40%. Embiid coming off his MVP honors. Gave a little speech pregame. Surprised they dropped this one, man. Surprised. They came out looking hot. Celtics made a little run. And Harden was tearing it up a little bit. It just came down to the depth of the Celtics. That bench was coming off the bench and really making it happen for them. I still can't believe they got guys like Brogdon off the bench. Such a deep team. Robert Williams off the bench. A lot of dudes. And the Sixers dropped one at home. So, thoughts on that? Tatum, he bounces back. I know we saw the other night he was dreadful. 7 points. We knew that was an anomaly. So, seems like they're back. Jaylen Brown with his Phantom of the Opera mask, just tearing it up, showing you that he's legitimately become a superstar.
Yeah. For me, I don't know what game you're watching. You said Harden played well. Dude,
he was too.
Well, 3 for 14 from the field, 16 points after coming off that 40-plus game.
That's probably what I was saying about the other night.
Tie this back to the book. What we were just talking about with Booker. Like, you're not going to keep that up, right? That's incredibly tough. I mean, we're talking about playoff basketball where the game slows down a little bit. It's not as fast paced as the regular season. Like the Celtics adjusted. They adjusted for Harden. I don't want to say the strategies let Embiid get his because you don't want him to get too hot, get cooking. But
let me add the fucked up thing. I couldn't take it for the life of me, man. They slapped Smart on him for 80%, 90% of the game, and they don't just go through Embiid. it's kind of crazy. Like, listen, we get it. Marcus Smart's a physical guard, defensive player of the year type of guy. No, he shouldn't be able to stick Embiid. I don't care what you're doing. Embiid's getting the ball, again, top of the key and trying to work down. I want to see him get in position on the fucking block. And I want to see Marcus Smart try to defend that.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Sixers settle for that double team on Embiid, kick out, hopefully they hit the three.
Yeah.
And it didn't fall last night.
I mean, they shot what? 43% from three last night. It wasn't terrible.
How many did they take?
They were 16 of 37. They shot better than the Celtics did from three, but when you got Harden going 2 for 7, that's pretty rough. But yeah, no, I mean, the smart strategy might just be, hey, let's bang him up a little bit. Let's get in his head mentally, because he's gonna press him 24 seconds, right? All 24 seconds, he's gonna be on top of him. I mean, we all know that. We all know that feeling, man. Compare it to when you go play pickup basketball at like LA Fitness and the wrestler that's never played basketball is guarding you. This guy is just on top of you. It is absolutely so annoying, isn't it?
It's the worst. Some assholes just making it his job to sprint with you every step of the way, and down the court.
Dude, that is frustrating, man. When some guy is attached to your hip for 24 straight seconds. So I don't know if that's their play, but hey, they walked out with a W, on the road. So props to them. I think that's a team to beat, truthfully. Right now is the Celtics. Luckily for them, they got a pretty easy walk through well, I don't want to say that. If the Knicks can come out of their series, I think that'll be a pretty epic and historic series, I will say. Celtics, Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, like that's what I'm kind of rooting for right now. I think the Celtics are clearly the better team, but that would be pretty epic to watch. But I think for right now, it's probably Celtics Nuggets looking like the favorites to make it to the finals.
Yeah. I mean, Celtics do look solid. Like you said, you didn't want to jinx and say, hey, it's an easy path, but the Bucks really fucked this one up.
It's probably why Budenholzer's gone.
Yeah.
The Bucks are what, the first number 1 seed to lose to the 8 seed since the Bulls did to the Sixers when D Rose tore his ACL. Is that true? Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to say that is true. It was shocking. It was shocking and a complete debacle. It seemed like they weren't even in those games at times, which is crazy with the talent that they put together. And it seems like some of the guys on that team are actually, barking up the ladder, complaining about things. I think Jay Crowder was saying, like, why the fuck am I here? Which I agree. Why'd you bring in Jay Crowder if you're not going to play a significant role off the bench? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this series plans out. Celtics probably come away with one. That really quick, we're just going to touch on that Knicks Heat series, man. It does seem like 90s basketball, physical style of play, both coaches defensive-minded. When you think about the All-Stars that are playing on that one, Jimmy Butler, a guy that's willing to glue their best player. And I tell you what, man, super surprising. Shout out to Lake County, but Jalen Brunson has become a superstar. And it took forever for me to buy into this. But watching his game evolve and how he uses his body, and actually he's a physical point guard. He really takes it to the defense. He's the aggressor. Everything runs through him. They put a solid cast around him. The one thing I think the Knicks need in order for this to really happen, for them to advance and make a push to the finals, you need R.G. Barrett to step up and continue to play like a superstar. I think he's the one guy. When you look at this big picture, we know what Julius Randle's going to do. He's going to be consistent. He's not going to play the greatest of defense, but you need a Robin to your Batman here to really make a push, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, he played pretty great the other night. Um, it's kind of funny, man. You know, you're mentioning the buy-in to Brunson, and I'd say last year he really proved himself. And you know, I think loser here, clear cut loser. And I know I'm getting a little off topic, but it just kind of came to my mind. Look at the Dallas Mavericks, man.
Oh,
They passed up signing Brunson to get, now they have Kyrie, missed the playoffs, and they would probably be a top 2 seed if they would have just re-signed that boy. That one,
they shit
I
right down their
never
leg this year.
understood that. I never understood that decision as soon as it happened to let him walk, man. That one made absolutely no sense. The Mavericks played well last year with him, and they want to let him just walk. I never understood that one. So, um, clear cut winners on that one. New York Knicks, man, they stole a high quality talent, like you said, superstar in Jalen Brunson. Who shot out
That little fucking, that drive, plant, pivot, turnaround, little fadeaway he's got. It's almost Chris Paul like, and it's automatic for such a small frame. You go, Jesus Christ, they can't stop it. That high arcing shot he's got, it's crazy. It's crazy. He's really come into his own.
Definitely happy for the Knicks though, man. That fan base. I know we're Bulls fans and we've been deprived, but talk about more deprived. Jeez. So shout out to them. I hope they make the conference finals, and I hope that they go 7 with the Celtics, not just for their sake, but just for basketball's sake. I think this is good for basketball that the Knicks are they're in the second round, right? Potentially going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So, all around awesome to see that, man. That team it's something the way they've come together. I mean, on paper, it ain't the best team on paper, but man, they play
compared to
well.
these others, hell no.
They play well together. My man D Rose sitting on the bench though, gotta get some minutes.
They threw his ass in there the other night. I'm saying the other night like it was yesterday. It was probably a couple weeks back. He just got, I want to say the last minute of a game, and he got a standing ovation from the crowd. Just a standing ovation. Pretty incredible the fan base he's still got. Yeah, man. Tibbs, he's a GOAT. Yeah. We already know as Bulls fans, he is a GOAT. All right. Cool, man. Moving on to football. Talking Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay East. JB, he hopped on just before this. He goes, what the fuck is Green Bay East? As is everybody. But I'll tell you what. So I work in Wisconsin, and I hear a lot of chatter around the Packers, right? All of their fans are calling the Jets Green Bay East. It's the craziest fucking thing, right? But when you see what they've done in the offseason and these different acquisitions, it certainly seems like Green Bay East. So rattling through their offseason here real briefly. Obviously, we know about the whole Aaron Rodgers saga pre-draft. A lot of drama around that. He went over to an unnamed territory, smoking the ayahuasca or whatever that shit is, and figured out that he was going to make his next move here to New York. New York coming off a really solid year, man, a really solid year. They put together a pretty darn good defense over there. One piece short of really making a playoff push, right? That quarterback position. Absolutely fucking brutal last season. Dealing with, Zach Wilson, obviously not living up to his number 2 pick potential, right? And then having to, settle with playing Mike White, and back and forth, and the team buying in with Mike White and not believing in the number 2 pick, but the coaching staff is still buying in with the number 2 pick. So it really fell apart near the end of the year, as you saw them trying to compete for that final playoff spot. But it's been interesting to see what kind of roster they've built here. I'm just going to pull up the roster on my end. Any thoughts on the Jets, Joe, as I pull this up?
Sorry, I'm telling you. For me, I don't. It's just crazy because when I see this team, I just think of Tampa Bay when Brady got there. I just think of Tampa Bay for some reason. It's the veteran quarterback, coming in, maybe towards the tail end of his career, looking to win one more, and surrounds himself with a bunch of young talent. And when Brady got there, obviously Gronk came with him. A couple other Patriots, I think, were on the roster as well. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but it's just funny because, for years, Rodgers was like, get me receivers, get me receivers, get me receivers. Now he wants his receivers with him in New York. I thought they'd be fine with what they had. Maybe should have drafted a wide receiver instead. Get a little bit younger. The whole Randall Cobb one, dude. I don't get the Randall Cobb one. The Allen Lazard, sure, guy's got some youth still in him, but I think Randall Cobb's past his prime. He'll probably be that guy that just comes in and runs like a 5 or 6 yard hitch or a 5 and out every now and then. But it's an interesting roster. I don't know how well they're gonna play in comparison to when Brady got to the Bucs. But you know what? Now that I think about it, the Bucs were they not a wild card seed the year they won the Super Bowl? They were a wild card. So
I believe so.
It may just be making the wild card, not winning your division. Staying healthy throughout the year. I mean, Rodgers is a little bit older. So I don't see the point of maybe playing as hard throughout the regular season if the Bills are just absolutely killing it, right? Maybe preserve them a little bit, get that wild card, because when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, he did it from a wild card seed too.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the play, might be monitor that one a little bit more, just similar to how Brady was in Tampa Bay. They lost to the Saints, twice in the regular season that year and then beat them in the playoffs. So that's when it really matters. And it's funny that we're seeing that because in the XFL, the same situation just happened. Was it Arlington lost to I don't know the name of the team off the top of my head, but they lost to them twice in the regular season. They beat them in the playoffs. So that might be it. It's an interesting roster, though. I will say it's a very interesting roster.
Yeah, the reason why we're bringing up this Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay East, so Robert Saleh, he just came out with a quote saying, this whole Aaron Rodgers wish list, like, it's just silly. Like, we would never be following a wish list. I will tell you, Mr. Saleh, I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart here. We pulled it up on JB's end here. So we got Allen Lazard. Okay. All right. Great, great, solid wide receiver. Great frame. He'll play your generic X for you, big body. So I see why you signed him. He's had some pretty solid production in sharing, that wide receiver room with a perennial All-Pro talent who sees the likes of 130 targets a game. So he's been pretty darn productive. So I'd like to see how he does on his own. So perfect. Let's sign him. Let's pair him with our small, jittery Garrett Wilson, who's a number one on this team. Okay, but then you go out and get Randall Cobb. Okay, Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb hasn't been productive in a few years. I mean, he had 30 receptions for 400 yards last year. Okay, he's 32 years old. Interesting. In a wide receiver room that already has the likes of Garrett Wilson, Mecole Hardman, that plays that similar like role, and now Randall Cobb, a target machine type of guy. Very, very, very interesting. So I certainly think there's a little more that we don't know in terms of this whole wish list. Instead of it being the 8 folks that we heard on our end, all these players that he wants going there, I certainly think it was maybe a couple.
I will say,
What do you think?
Look at Randall Cobb's average per catch. Look at this, 12.3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's certainly a technique. You line up a 32-year-old receiver out there, knowing you have a number one and what have you. You're putting your last in line of defense against him. You're not slapping Sauce Gardner on fucking Randall Cobb, right? So the production in the NFL, I will say, also is a little inflated at the slot position. You're running a majority of your routes against linebackers and zone looks, and able to produce at a decent clip. 30 catches, 400 yards. It is what it is. I certainly think there's something around this wish list. I don't think it was 10 people, but I think Rodgers had a say in, like, hey, you better sign Allen Lazard. Pick this kid up. And then he spoke with his boy Randall Cobb. Come on, don't tell me he didn't. Don't tell me he didn't. So just wanted to jump into this whole saga that we've been dealing with, right? So he made the big move. Moving forward, the NFL draft with these guys, that first round, we reacted to it. They go out and they draft Will McDonald out of Iowa State, edge rusher, at the 15 spot. Looks super, super talented out of that Big 12, So are his numbers inflated? Maybe, in a league that certainly passes a whole lot. But he looks like a guy that can really run the field east and west, doesn't give up on plays. They need a premier pass rusher. Yeah, they have Quinnen Williams, but he's your plug. He plays your 3-tech look. I like to see them adding to that already stellar defense. You did an excellent job in signing all these receivers in free agency, right? And knowing what Aaron Rodgers can do with limited talent around him, I think you're going to be in a good spot here moving forward. What are your thoughts on this lineup, this draft pick? What's their outlook going into next season, JB? What do you think here?
Sorry. I think for me, it's what I kind of already said. It's that wild card spot. I don't think they're necessarily going to dethrone the Bills at the end of the day. Bills got better too. And I mean, we're talking about the Dolphins now as well, and don't forget about Bill Belichick. So I mean, he's going to have 6 games where he's going to have to absolutely ball out in that division. I think the ceiling for them is wild card right now. I don't see them winning that division. And this, for me, it's a Super Bowl or bust, right? Like they have to win the Super Bowl now. Like that, if they don't, this was a total failure. You don't get a guy like this to go win a playoff game, right? You don't hype up your fan base that's suffered for so long just to go make the playoffs, right? I mean, we're talking about a team that has the current longest streak in the NFL for missed years in the playoffs, right? Like they haven't made it in 10 plus years. It's outrageous. So for me, like I said, I think the ceiling's wild card. I do like the pick. You got to stack up on defense to win that division. You need to put some pressure on Josh Allen, who's known to turn the ball over a lot, right? This helps them out big time on defense. I would have preferred to see them take a receiver, but I think the signings they made was good enough for them to go, we don't need a receiver.
Yeah.
If they wanted one, they probably could have traded back. I think that would have been a clear indication of the Jets wanting a receiver, as if they would have traded back. I really don't have much issue with this pick. Tua, he's also known to take some big hits, put some pressure on him, right? So I think this was a pretty good pick overall.
Yeah, and just blasting through this depth chart, right? So Aaron Rodgers, you're getting Breece Hall back next year. Super productive in his rookie year. right? Unfortunately, cut short to that ACL. It sounds like all things pointing towards another bounce back season for him in his sophomore year. They spent some draft capital in that running back room as well over the past couple of years. So Brees Hall, Michael Carter, Israel Abanikanda, who in the NCAA statistically a monster out of Pitt, a sleeper. Okay, so you got a full running back room to support Aaron Rodgers, a guy who loves to dump it off to his running backs. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. Mecole Hardman, love that signing. Take the top off the defense. Tyler Conklin was productive last year, as we all know. They invested in C.J. Uzomah still at tight end. He hasn't panned out thus yet. Dwayne Brown, Lincoln Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, they just signed. Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Beckman, great offensive line to support Aaron Rodgers, a guy you got to keep up, right? You're all in on Aaron Rodgers. You got a great offensive line, a solid-ass run game. I kind of love what they did in this draft. Just invest in what's needed, pass rush. Like JB said, I mean, really, let's get after these quarterbacks and try to compete in this league. Defensively, John Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson. Again, Jermaine Johnson's a guy they're hoping will pan out and become a premier pass rush. The number one recruit coming out of high school going into college, Jermaine Johnson, played at Georgia. Got kicked out. I don't know if you guys remember Last Chance U. He actually ended up with Coach Jason Brown over at Independence Community College, and found his way back at Florida State and was very, very productive. A top pick for the Jets. So they're hoping he pans out. Quinnen Williams has been a monster over the past couple of years, an absolute stud at Alabama in his day. They paired him up with his brother. I don't know if you guys noticed that on this defense, Quincy Williams, right at linebacker, who's also been pretty productive. Fun little dynamic there, right? His brother's playing nose, taking the double team, and he comes in and scoops up and he had a zillion tackles over the past couple of years. C.J. Mosley, he's kind of aging, but look at the back end, man. Sauce Gardner, what an absolute smash pick last season. You went out and signed Chuck Clark from the Ravens. Jordan Whitehead's been really solid over the past couple of years. So I like this team they put together. Let's reinvest into that D-line. We haven't seen Jermaine Johnson pan out yet. So this is doubling down on your idea of we got to get pass rush. We got to get to the quarterback. We're going to try to limit, the production of these super, super explosive offenses in their league. So interesting, man. Outlook. So let's talk about how that looks for next season. Let's pull up that schedule. Let's pull up that 2023. Oh, they don't have it on ESPN. I want to go over what it looks like for these guys. Because I'm almost on the other side of things. JB saying, hey, fringe wild card. They're going to be battling it out. I'll tell you what, I'm thinking more along the lines of this team is potentially winning this division. I don't think people understand the magnitude of signing a guy like Aaron Rodgers. So teams that this team's going to play next year, okay, obviously their division, right? You got Washington. They're going to get the Eagles. That'll be a fun one. Eagles and Jets. They got Falcons, Chargers, Chiefs, Texans, Bills. Yep.
Cowboys are their first game.
So they got. Oh, you got it up on your end?
Yeah, those are.
So who do we start with? Who do we open with?
The Cowboys.
So we open with the Cowboys. At home?
At Cowboys.
At Cowboys. Tough game. Tough game. Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure that's prime time. That's a tough game. Who do they play second week?
At the Broncos.
Win. So let's call 1-1. Next.
At Raiders.
At Raiders, that's a win. Next.
At the Dolphins.
At Dolphins. They probably split with the Dolphins. What do you think about that? Where do you think the Dolphins are tough, man? The Dolphins are very, very, very tough.
I don't think this is in order, by the way.
Mm.
I don't think this is in order.
Maybe they haven't hammered out the
dates.
The dates yet.
They're out yet.
So nonetheless, they're out of division. Yeah, you got a couple NFC East teams: Boys, Giants, Broncos, Browns, Raiders, Chiefs. They're playing a lot of playoff teams next year, man. Playing a lot of playoff teams. You got what? 1, 2, 3.
Here, I got this for you.
This is
right here.
They got a pretty tough schedule.
It's right there.
Knowing obviously how competitive their own league is, right? Their own division's tough. You gotta take on the Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, Boys, Giants, Browns. Yeah, it's tough. You know what? They're probably floating around 9 wins. As much as I want to believe in them, man. As much as I want to believe in them, and I might be gassing these guys up a little bit, knowing that I have Garrett Wilson. I want to thank every single one of my dynasty fantasy teams. Shout out to Garrett Wilson. Let's do something this year. Let's make some moolah. But yeah, that's a tough schedule. Very tough.
Yeah.
Floating around 9 wins in my eyes. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they got to play. The good thing is, though, that they do have the 2 tough opponents in the AFC West at home, right? Like, they get the Chiefs Chargers at home. Like, that's huge. If it was the other way around, I'd say they're probably not going to win those games, right? So they kind of got lucky here.
So maybe they split them.
They have to play the Raiders and the Broncos on the road, right? Like, I'd rather play those 2 teams on the road than the Chiefs and the Chargers. So, I think they'll split. They'll probably split with the Dolphins. I agree with that one. They'll probably take both against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them beating the Bills.
Damn.
I don't
No
see
hope
them
in
beating
them.
the Bills either time. So I'd say they're probably around like 10 wins, 9-10 wins, somewhere in that range. I think they'll probably end up beating either the Chargers or the Chiefs. I don't see them losing to both. And then they got some decent matchups on the road. I mean, they're going to beat the Browns. The Giants, that'll be a good game. That'll be a good game. It's technically
Giants got better.
It's technically a home game, even though it's on the road. So playing the Cowboys on the road, that's going to be tough, which is a team I'm very excited to watch this year, by the way. Like, I hate the Cowboys. I hate their fan base. Fuck you if you're a Cowboys fan. But for me, I'm very excited to watch that team because I think Zeke held that offense back. And now we get a chance to see Pollard just in there doing his thing.
Tony Pollard season for sure.
I'm very
And the crazy thing is, they signed Ronald Jones, who's he's a backup running back, guys. Like, it wouldn't shock me if he's around, 60 carries on the season, right? Only around that. They double down on Tony Pollard with this draft. They draft Deuce Vaughn in the 6th round. His dad is the fucking director of college scouting for the Cowboys. Hometown tie. It was almost like a friendly gesture from Jerry. He said, "You know what? Let's draft the bugger, right? Let's take him and let's make Dad happy and make him continue to excel in his job." So they doubled down on Tony Pollard, man. I was really shocked to see that. I thought for sure you would have been spending at least upwards of the 5th round and up, right, in terms of draft capital on a running back. I mean, it's almost a must in modern football, especially knowing what Tony Pollard is, right? A primarily receiving, small frame, satellite type back. Okay, so it might be Tony Pollard season, a guy in which averaged around 6 yards of freaking carry, broke tons of runs last year.
With that old line though, you don't need a back like Zeke, man. If that old line stays healthy, you could put anybody back. I don't want to say that, but like you don't need that big body frame. You just don't need it. I mean, look, dude, we know all too well, right? We had Zeke in our fantasy last year. We got rid of that bum as soon as we could.
He absolutely lost a step too. Like we remember Zeke, legitimate, high 4.4, 4.5 guy, burner, breakaway runs, hurdling people. We know he was over the hill, absolutely over the hill. I will say, it'll be interesting to see who picks him up though. You can't tell me he's going to be sitting in free agency going into the season. Someone's got to take a shot on this guy.
I think teams are waiting. Because they know if they jump right now, they're going to pay for it. I think they're going to wait a little bit closer to not the season start, but I think they'll wait a little bit longer, try to get him a little bit cheaper because he's not gonna just sit out a year, man. He'll take a 1-year deal somewhere for basically I don't want to say basically nothing, but I think a lot of teams are just sitting. Teams want to see where they're standing too with their draft picks and all that stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he lands.
Couple big name running back or formerly big name running backs out there: Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, and Zeke Elliott. Right? I would have thought for sure by now Kareem Hunt would have got a look. Teams are obviously frightened from what they heard from their camp over in Cleveland. Cleveland is stating the reason why they got rid of him is he looks nothing like the running back he used to look like when they actually split carries. Towards the end of last season, I mean, he didn't get any tick. It was Nick Chubb season, and they let him ride. So hearing these quotes out of camp is probably scaring the shit out of teams. They're still gonna bring him in for workouts, just like everybody else does, and see how things go. But yeah, man, I just wanted to touch on that New York Jets team. A very, very interesting offseason. It seems like the fan base is all in on those boys, and they're really big believers in thinking that they can win that division. And I try to give you that same
it's hope, man.
Belief.
You give them hope.
Yeah.
Give them hope. It's like when the Knicks got signed Melo, man. You gave that franchise hope. They thought they were going to go somewhere. So hopefully this one works out. Hopefully the Jets can compete, make it to the playoffs. Not only just make it, but win in the playoffs. I mean, dude, we gotta. For me, this whole Aaron Rodgers to the Jets situation confuses me. Truthfully,
really,
it does. It does.
Lay it on us.
I think there's other situations where he could have been in a more successful environment right out the gate. I mean, dude, you're looking at again the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Ravens. I mean, I just named 4 teams that are all like Super Bowl contending teams, right? The AFC, I scratched my head at that one. Why go AFC? I feel like the NFC is a little bit more wide open. There's really only one team in the NFC right now. It's the Eagles, right? And then close second might be the Cowboys. Other than that, I mean, that one's a little bit of a head scratcher to me. I don't know if it's just he wants to go play in New York for a couple of years, make some money, and then go to a situation where he can make some or not make some money, but win another Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't need any fucking money. This guy, he collected that bag.
Yeah, the whole Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, I never understood it. I never understood why he wanted to make that move in his career at this point, knowing who's in the AFC. Even if he makes the wild card, look at the teams he's going to get matched up against, right? Only one team gets a first-round bye.
Mm-hmm.
So if it isn't the Chiefs, you're going to play either the Bengals or the Bills or potentially the Ravens in the first round on the road That is tough, man. So I never understood this one. Brady to the Bucks, I understood that one. That one made sense, right? He left a pretty tough AFC at the time. Jumped ship to a division that was pretty bad, other than the Saints, right? He knew he had a shot to make the playoffs, right? He could go 4-0 easy against the Panthers and the Falcons. Maybe split one with the Saints. I don't think he did that year, but then get to that wild card and then just contend from there. But man, I think it's going to be tough. I do not see Super Bowl, man, with this Jets team. I don't. Happy for them, but we're talking about teams that have been together for years. The Chiefs are amazing still. The Bengals, hell, they got better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Ravens got better. Dolphins are still great, right? It's just Chargers are still good. Doesn't make
100%.
sense. I would have went to the AFC South, truthfully. I know there's no good situations right now, but if there's a division to go to in the AFC, that would have been the one. At least you know you're going to have a home playoff game. Am I right?
Probably.
Sorry, Trevor Lawrence. I didn't forget about you.
Hopping into, continue to look into this outlook. I want to talk numbers now. Okay. We kind of talked about that schedule. They're probably going to float around 9 wins, knowing they're playing a lot of playoff teams. Really tough schedule, obviously, in their division. Let's talk about individual expectations. Aaron Rodgers, okay. Over under 4,000 yards passing. 3,700 yards last season. Over under 4,000 yards.
I'll go with over because it took him a little bit to get going last year to find a target. Once he got rock and roll with Watson, and he missed a game or two last year, so I could see over on that one pretty easily. They're going to be the offense will be on the field. That's a good thing for him. His defense is pretty solid where he'll have more possession, so I could see easily over 4,000. I don't know what your thoughts are on that one.
Yeah. Real quick, I think it's probably just over 4,000, maybe around 4,200 yards. Anything above is a stellar season from Aaron Rodgers, I would say, at this point of his career. Like you said, I think they're actually going to pound the ball more on the ground than people think. Again, you invested more draft capital in a spot where you were already rich in investing over the past couple of years. Fantastic defense. Yeah, their division slings it, and there's going to be a lot of quick possessions. But
yeah,
I think typical Aaron Rodgers teams, they start with a solid foundation, solid O-line, run game, and build off it with that play action. And yeah, I see him obviously having a better year in terms of QBR. Last year, 39.3. It was 26th in the league, right? A career low. I just don't foresee that happening again. I'm thinking over 4,000 yards. Touchdowns. How many touchdowns? I'm going to be around 28 touchdowns. How many do you think?
He'll get into the 30s.
You think he gets into the 30s this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he did 26 last year, so
yeah,
it's a 4 touchdown improvement. His career best is 48?
Yeah.
That was back in 2020. So
yeah.
I could easily see 30 plus with the roster he has. He'll probably come around. If I got to say number 34, I'll say 34.
Mm-hmm.
An 8 touchdown improvement over last year.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers, he's been talking about his new toy, Garrett Wilson, saying he looks just like another number 17 I used to play with that wore green and yellow, right? So he's giving him comps to an all-pro receiver already. I mean, Garrett Wilson, arguably one of the best young receivers we've seen come in the league over the past 5 years. Same with the likes of, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, right? 1,100 yards, 83 receptions with shit quarterback play. I will add, shit quarterback play. So now you give him a Hall of Famer. Garrett Wilson, right? For you fantasy owners, let's give it to you. Over, under 1,200 yards, Joe.
Oh,
I know it's a lot.
Easy.
I know it's a lot, but
he wasn't utilized as much early on. I mean, he had his first game was 89 and stuff, but like his targets were so inconsistent. I looked at that backwards. His first game was 52. His targets were so inconsistent early on, man. I mean, we're talking 4, 8, 6, 2, 3, 1, 4, 6, 8, 2, 5. I mean, he's gonna have more consistent targets this year than that. Well, I'm not. Sorry, I was looking at receptions. Targets was 147. Receptions was 83. That'll go up. I think he'll get close to 100 receptions, which will get him easily to 1,200.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that too. So receptions over 100. It was going to be over under 100.
Yeah, he'll get to 100. He'll get to 100.
So you think Aaron Rodgers peppers the shit out of him like they did with Adams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy's talented enough, man. He's absolutely talented enough. Guy had 1 reception against the Packers last year. That's funny.
So you said easily over 1,200 yards receiving, right?
Easily,
so
yeah.
where do you think? I mean, give me a ballpark area. Give these fantasy owners a heads up as to what they're buying into right here.
If I had to compare them, I'd probably put them in the same category, reception yards wise. Maybe a Devontae Adams, maybe. It's just so crazy with the receivers. You have your top tier, and then there's just a massive drop off after that. Maybe around that Devontae Adams mark. What did he end up doing last year?
Forget. Was it around 1,300, 1,400 yards?
1,500. So not quite 1,500. I don't think he'll get quite 1,500.
That would be some. Damn.
Let's see. NFL receivers. Yards.
Yeah, well, JB looks that up. I mean, yeah, I think it's north of. I think it's well north of 1,200. I want to say he falls around that 1,400 yard mark. I do. It sounds like he's the focal point of this pass game. Aaron Rodgers is beyond thrilled to join him. A lot of talk around getting him more involved in the screen game, similar to what they used to do with Devontae Adams, right? That quick now screen game. So,
yeah, I could see him getting up somewhere around like a Devontae Smith. He had 1,200 last year. I could see that.
Okay. So you're right around that mark then. So you're not over.
After that, you kind of have a jump. I mean, after Devontae Smith at 1,200, it was Jalen Waddle at 1,356. I don't think he's quite Jalen Waddle. So I think he'll fall somewhere around that Devontae Smith, Scary Terry, Amon-Ra St. Brown, kind of around that area. But he'll certainly, I think he'll get to 1,200.
Okay, Breece Hall, man, was a monster starting up last season. You get him back, knowing what this offense is probably going to want to do. Over under on 1,100 yards rushing.
No.
It's under?
Yeah. Absolutely under.
Why do you say that?
What was the number again?
1,100?
That's Christian McCaffrey numbers. It's tough. It's tough to compare him to Christian McCaffrey. So I would say no. Probably I could see him coming around like a Kenneth Walker, close to Kenneth Walker just broke 1,000 last year. I could see somewhere around that area potentially. Kenneth Walker, maybe a Tony Pollard, Tyler Algier, somewhere in that range. I don't necessarily think he'll get up over 11. Jesus Christ! Shout out Justin Fields at 1,143 yards last year. He was the league's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th leading rusher last year. The quarterback position. Yeah,
it's crazy. So I'm in a lot of dynasty football leagues, right? And when you do these things called there's a startup drafts, right? It's the first year you're drafting your team for the next 5. They got Justin Fields going within like the top 7, and it's like, damn, you guys really think Justin Fields going to keep this up, huh? 1,000 yards a year? Shit, who do you think he is? Walter Payton? Crazy. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. So we touched on that Jets team. It'll be exciting to see what they do. I'm looking forward to it. See how they come out week 1 with all that hype against the Cowboys there. Any words of wisdom before we sign off here?
If you're not a Formula One fan, you start being one.
What do we got on the slate?
Catch the race this weekend in Miami.
That's right.
3:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Qualifying's today at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. You'll get to see the improvements that were made to the track year over year over at the Hard Rock. It's pretty impressive what they were able to do over there. Turn that stadium into a racetrack. It's pretty cool. If you get a chance to check it out, check it out.
Where can they watch this? I don't think everybody.
I believe it's on ESPN this week. It's not on ESPN all the time.
Exactly.
I have a subscription service to Formula One TV. It's about like $80 a year. Worth it in my opinion. You get to go back. You get to watch all the races whenever you want. So if you miss them, you can rewatch them. There's a lot of races that take place super early in the morning, our time, and even in the middle of the night sometimes. Which race was it in Australia? That was about like a 1:00 in the morning race. That was a few weeks ago. No, that was actually 4 or 5 weeks ago. That was a 1 a.m. race. If you're not into it, give it a shot. I'd watch one. This would be an interesting one to watch. They've got 3 races this year in the United States, first time ever. Miami this weekend, Circuit of the Americas in Texas later this year, and then they're going to do I believe the Las Vegas race is at midnight or 1 a.m. So it is going to be a night race. Probably going to be one of the biggest sporting events ever, just in terms of any sport. That will be like the Super Bowl almost of Formula One. Expect to see a lot of celebrities out there, and this weekend too. It's pretty cool stuff, man. Right now, Red Bull's definitely dominating the game. It's a new era. We came out of the hybrid era a couple years ago. Last year was the first year in the new era where Mercedes dominated for about 7-8 years. So give it a shot. It's pretty interesting. It's not NASCAR where they just drive left. There's been improvements made to the sport to make it more competitive. They added DRS, which is drag reduction system. It helps cars pass each other on straights. It's pretty exciting, I will say. It's pretty exciting. There's a Netflix series called Drive to Survive. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, start from season 1. There's 4 out now, I believe. You get to follow some of the drama of it. I'd watch that maybe before jumping in. But if you are going to jump in, this is a great weekend to see your first race. Yeah.
That's dope. I think the only other thing on the slate today would be the big one would be this UFC 288. I know we didn't go into it a whole lot, but really the only belt up for grabs is this bantamweight, Sterling versus Cejudo. So Cejudo coming back out of retirement, right? Only a couple years out. It's been rumored to say that if he wins this, he will be the greatest UFC fighter of all time. I don't know if I believe that.
I'm sorry, but these small dudes can't be the greatest UFC fighter of all time. I'm sorry.
So what are you, weight prejudice?
No, just these small guys, man. I don't see how you can be the greatest UFC fighter of all time. Like, dude, I look at John Jones and I go, this guy's like a specimen. He was built to fight people. I just don't know how anybody can compare themselves to a guy like that. I think it's super disrespectful to compare yourself to a guy like that. Because if you're going to say you're the GOAT, you're comparing yourself to John Jones, right?
You're getting heated.
There's a
Go in.
lot. I just hate. I hate that dude. I hate that dude. I hope he gets his face bashed in. I hope he goes back into retirement.
So you want? So let me hold you here for a sec. You want to see a battle of the champions? You want it to go back to UFC 1, and you want to see Cejudo versus John Jones?
Not at all. Not at all. What I'm saying. That'd be cool though. See him get his ass whooped, but no, that's not what I'm saying. I just think these small dudes, man, they carry themselves a little too much. You know, McGregor did for a while because he cut a lot of weight. Look at that boy now, man. I'm 6'2", 205. I wouldn't want to mess with him. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's blown up,
swollen. Like, I'm excited to see him on The Ultimate Fighter, man. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
him and Mike Chandler.
Yep,
that'll be
a couple of hotheads right there, man.
Oh yeah, but
a couple of hotheads
for Cejudo to say he's the GOAT, like the whole double champ thing. I hate it. I hate that. Right? They should have stopped it after McGregor did it because he never defended the belt. They should have just, hey guys, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. If you want to go chase another belt, you got to give up your belt. So the whole I was a double champ thing, I hate that. It's so bad for the sport because now you have longer periods of time before that title is defended. It hurts your pay-per-views at the end of the day because you've got this lightweight belt or whatever that's sitting there for over a year not being defended. It's bad for business. So I really hope they stop letting that happen. And I don't really see nobody's a double champ anymore right now. It was Amanda Nunes and she lost. So
well, she got it back.
Did she get it back?
Yeah, she
did she?
Yeah, she got it back the second time against Pena. And then this would be the third fight here. And Pena had to back out. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, she did win it back. So she
won it back.
And bantamweight.
Yeah. And I mean, she's a monster. She is an absolute monster.
I mean, it'll be a good fight. I think this double champ stuff's got to stop. It ruins the business. I mean, look at this. Amanda Nunes, right? The featherweight title, she won it in 2018. She's defended it twice since 2018. 2 title defenses in 5 years. That's bad for business.
Because like you said, it takes too much time to recover in between. It's just
what are you going to do? Defend the one, recover, cut a bunch of weight, then go do that one, then recover, put the weight back on, and go defend that one. Like, it's terrible for business. It's just a belt that's sitting. I don't even know when the last time. Dude, she won it over Chris Cyborg. When's the last time we heard her name in mixed martial arts being brought up?
Oh my goodness!
Right?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's ridiculous. I don't know when the last time she defended the featherweight belt was.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How did we not talk about this?
See, I don't know how to pull it up though. I don't know how to pull it up on my end. Can I?
Baylor Bears, man. Baylor Bears.
Crotum? It's called Crotum. Crow. CROTUMB. It's like crow tumbling.
No.
Acrobatic tumbling.
Yeah. Hilarious.
You guys got to see this.
I literally Googled it, right? Watch this. Look at the first hit. Look at the first hit on this one.
You guys got to see this shit.
Look at the first hit, dude. I just typed it in. There she is.
Oh yeah. Do we have the images? We got to pull up I got to get an image, an action shot. You know, we're talking about these beast women. Amanda Nunes, an absolute monster in the cage. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's this sport now in college. It's called acrobatic tumbling.
Baylor is absolutely dominating it. By the way, they're like 8-time champions of this shit.
I wonder why. but it's a new sport, right? Where they're taking more. How would you put it? They're taking more chances in their tumbling. It's not as conservative as like a cheerleading, where these girls are blowing up, are physical specimens, throwing each other up in the air, and able to do some incredible things. By the way, shout out to these girls. They're absolute beasts. But there was a couple videos going viral this past weekend. Of this girl Bailey, right? And she's just absolutely jacked. I mean, she's legitimately built like a superhero. It's the craziest thing. Like, look at the lats on this girl here.
This is crazy.
I mean,
like all the proportions, they're just so strange, man.
Like, if you ever wanted to, find the new UFC champ, I think it's right here. I think Dana White's got to make the call eventually.
Look at this.
I think you got to get this girl into a contender series.
Shout out to 38 for supporting her. Holy shit.
I mean, legitimately in the pictures here.
Look at this.
I mean, she's all of 6'2", 240.
Think about the kind
5%
of
body fat
strength it takes to not only hold this girl up, but to keep your legs straight and not buckle. Holy shit. What are they feeding these girls at Baylor?
I know. It is just incredible.
Who the fuck goes and watches this shit, though? It's packed stands.
I think you go for the show, right? It's almost like
Dude, they have more fans in seats than the Heat did when they played the Bulls in the play-in game. This is outrageous.
Just an absolute unit. I mean, look at her. No holding back, huh?
I did good.
It's crazy. You want to know what she reminds me of? If you guys remember Dodgeball, I think it was I think it was Svetlana, where she's just like the Terminator. Like, that's her. Look at her legs. I mean, guys, we're not checking her out. We're not shaming her body. We're athletes simply talking about another like, this is how we would talk about Calvin Johnson. He's an absolute freak. Look at, he's a specimen.
Crazy.
This woman is a specimen. We have never seen a woman.
You know what? It's funny you bring up Dodgeball because you compared her to the girl on the Purple Cobras, right? For me, she's actually the one of the Girl Scout girls that tested positive for the horse tranquilizers, and that they got disqualified. That's who she reminds me of.
Barnice?
This might be her.
Yeah.
Look at these legs.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys knew my setup, I got an iPad that's like, I don't know, 3-4 feet away.
Supporting Vince Wilfork right now. Like, it doesn't matter who this person is. All it matters is who this is. That's it. This
it's incredible.
Standing here watching and just oh my god. Look,
this is.
Look at that one hand.
This is crazy. Like, I was just explaining. I got my setup here, guys. So I'm at a bar. I got an iPad that's like 3 feet away, and a small screen that JB's sharing here, right? I'm able to just make out her freaking delts in this micro screen. It's crazy. This girl's a beast. But Dana White, that's why I had to bring Dana White. You got to make the call. I need to see her in a cage. Bailey, Amanda Nunes, UFC 290. Let's make it happen.
She could fight Brock Lesnar.
Jesus Christ. You went there.
Dude, more power to this girl, but holy shit, I've never seen a female with this kind of body style. This is insane. She's putting it to use.
It's crazy.
We got another stud too. Look at her. Look at her quads.
I mean, they're all jacked and developed. It's just this girl is like leaps and bounds. I mean, she legitimately looks like she was created in a lab and a destroyer of all destroyers in the sport. Like, if we're keeping it a buck. Again, the lats. Look at the lats.
This is a cheat code, man. This is the ultimate cheat code. You ain't, dude. This is like the equivalent when you pull up your all white Christian Catholic school, and you're on an away game, and you pull up to a school.
You pull
they
up
got,
the.
They got, dude. They got. Chief
you pull up the
Keef.
Simeon.
They got Chief Keef bumping in the gym. They're dunking in layup lines.
Yeah.
You lost as soon as you step foot in that gym. This is the equivalent, right? You step foot in the same gym with this girl, you already lost. You already lost.
That's crazy.
Insane. They got their own. They got it's basketball. Sorry, I was about to say. I'm like, they got their banners up there too.
And I've never heard of this sport until this week.
No.
So it's actually awesome that this girl is blowing up this sport. Because, I mean, quite honest, we're in tune, guys, and nobody knows this exists.
No, this shit's mad impressive, dude. Like,
yeah,
like they shit on cheerleaders, right? They're shitting on cheerleaders right now.
Oh yeah, like just the clapping.
But this, man.
Yeah,
some of these chicks she's supporting, my shoulders would just tear immediately.
Explode.
Oh yeah, yeah. So good for them. 8-time world champs. I don't even know how long this sport's been around.
8 years. 8 years, brother.
8 years. They'll continue.
8 years.
This is their program, right? They probably started this.
They actually created the sport. They actually created the sport.
They created the sport.
Shit.
Acrobatics and tumbling.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. I've been around the college sports scene for quite some time. I've never heard of that.
This is absolutely insane.
What to expect? Yeah. Can you get me jacked as shit?
They got a camp. They
have strength conditioning in that thing?
Holy shit.
It's just lifting. It's just lifting.
Day one, check-in from you got an hour 15-minute check-in window. Camp starts at 1:30.
Hypertrophy chest day. Day 1.
Day 2, camp will run. So commuter camper schedule. What to wear. Sheets. Bring sheets.
What the hell are we talking about here now?
This is the camp details.
The fuck are we doing on camp details?
Look at this shit. They got a camp in day 2. Look at this. It's a 12-hour day almost. Dude, that like you thought 2-a-days were rough in high school? Shit.
Just lifting bodies.
This is a 12-day. Just get your ass out there. And man, I thought.
Is that what it says in the what to expect?
What?
You're really selling me on this scam. It's oh shit. All right. I think that's enough. Listen, man, we're excited to bring this to you every week. We'll be back next week. Tune in. If you guys have lasted this whole video, give us a fucking like. We could use it. We're gonna get this thing rolling. As soon as this thing is big time, we'll get y'all on here.
Provide them with their own fucking shampoo. They make them bring their own. That's fun. Let's get the 8-time world champion some goddamn shampoo and conditioner, Baylor.
Listen, I'm surprised.
You're better than this.
I'm surprised they have fucking uniforms. I'm surprised. Like, I didn't even know. Like, who decided? Like, okay, this is what we're wearing now. Like, it's the volleyball get up. Like, who thought? Like,
they had leftover uniforms from the year before.
You guys want to start up a program? Here you go.
Insane, man. What a way to end this one.
Fun. We'll see you guys next time, man. Have a good Saturday.